After the passing of the Prophet, peace be upon him, during the era of Umar ibn al-Khattab, the Muslims had become one of the greatest superpowers in the world. Their armies had spread east and west, yet they still had one major weakness: the sea. The Roman Empire repeatedly attacked Muslim lands by sea because the Muslims had no navy. The Mediterranean had been under Roman control for nearly 700 years. They possessed around 1,000 powerful warships, and the sea was practically known as the Roman Sea. Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, then governor of Syria, wrote to Caliph Umar requesting permission to build a navy. But Umar refused. The Muslims were desert people with no experience in naval warfare, while the Romans were masters of the sea. However, when Uthman ibn Affan became Caliph, Muawiyah once again requested permission. After repeated appeals, Uthman finally allowed it, but with one strict condition: if Muawiyah believed sea warfare was safe, then the generals must take their wives along on the campaign. Muawiyah accepted the condition and ordered the construction of the first Islamic navy. The Muslims did not initially know how to build large warships, but in previously conquered regions like Egypt and the Levant, the Romans had established major shipbuilding yards that produced massive warships called dromon, vessels capable of carrying up to 300 warriors. These shipyards were reopened under Muslim control. Christian engineers were recruited to build ships, now for the Muslims instead of the Romans. And thus, the first Islamic navy was born. The first major target was Cyprus. When the Muslim fleet arrived, the island surrendered. This marked the first naval victory in Islamic history. Among those present was Haram, fulfilling the prophecy. Sadly, she fell from her mount and passed away there. She is buried in Cyprus and is remembered in Turkish tradition as Hala Sultan. Soon after, the Muslims advanced toward the Roman capital, Constantinople, modern Istanbul. They came so close that both armies could see each other from afar. But news arrived that Cyprus had revolted, forcing Muawiyah to return and secure it again. Enraged, the Roman Emperor Constans II personally led 500 massive warships to crush the Muslim navy. The Muslims gathered around 200 ships under the command of Abdullah ibn Sa'd. As the fleets faced each other, strong winds pushed against the Muslim ships. It seemed certain defeat was near. The Muslim commander ordered the anchors dropped to stabilize the ships. Then suddenly the winds changed direction. The sails were raised. The Muslim fleet charged forward. This historic confrontation became known as the Battle of the Masts, one of the largest naval battles of the 7th century. Since cannons did not yet exist, the battle was fought with arrows and swords. The Muslims tied their ships together for stability and even latched onto Roman ships, turning the sea into a floating battlefield. Despite a violent storm, the fighting continued. The Romans targeted the Muslim commander, injuring him and attempting to capture his ship. A brave Muslim cut the ropes connecting the ships, saving his general but sacrificing his own life. The Muslim morale surged. One by one, Roman ships fell. The emperor himself barely escaped by disguising himself as a common soldier. With this victory, the long-dominant Roman naval supremacy was shattered. The Muslims had defeated a navy that had ruled the seas for centuries. Caliph Uthman later envisioned a grand strategy: first Spain, then France, then Italy and Greece, eventually surrounding and capturing Constantinople. But history unfolded differently. Internal unrest led to the assassination of Uthman before these plans could materialize. Yet before his martyrdom, Uthman had achieved something extraordinary. He broke the 700-year naval dominance of the Roman Empire and established Muslim power upon the seas.